Welcome, this is Jeremiah. We're going to continue with Romans. I will put this video under the sound doctrine as a category, which is number 2. I might move it around, but at this time I'm going to put it under 2, which is your second playlist under Jeremiah Michael Pearson 2022. Now, Romans, once again, when you get into Paul, we just went into David, and it's just there's a lot of work. It's this is Jeremiah with New Covenant. You just tuned into the frequency of the New Covenant, and that is the bandwidth and the hertz. And you're here to listen to Dr. Jeremiah here as I get into chapter 1 of Romans, and I do have. I do have an overview ready, basically for Romans 2. I might say, we might go 2 to 7, and for those of you who are familiar with Romans 2 through 7 a little, it is really deep stuff. There's a lot of very broad ideology going on. There's a lot of broad ideas. As we greet you in the only name given amongst men by which you must be saved. And we're here to get going. We have a lot of work. I'm surrounded here. And this, of course, is a Bible teaching ministry, and I am the teacher. I have lots of videos I just took a peek at. I am now organizing. Let me give you a quick look behind the scenes routine here as we lifting up hearts and hands and voices to our God, Jesus Christ, as we worship and express how valuable the Lord is to us. The Greek word is to blow a kiss or something like that. It's very interesting, the Greek terminology. How it is, under those terms, a very affectionate display. Kind of like the way the Frenchmen kiss the Frenchman's cheek or something like that. And we're not talking about anything strange. We're just talking about showing Father a lot of affection, and that's what we do here. And one thing we do is we repeat here on just about every video, especially now in 2022, as I anticipate focusing on beauty and grace and mercy. Probably the two most prevalent ideas that we're going to explore here. Okay. Well, we're just having a good day. Today's a good day to teach because the weather's good here, and I use natural fans and things like that, but or no air conditioning. Air conditioning. We just have we go with whatever Father brings us in terms of weather, which can be challenging, but we are all brothers in persecution. Or John says tribulation, right? 66.1 in your Bible. We are brothers in tribulation, in the patience, the kingdom of patience. And of course, John's referring to what? Part 2 of your Christian life. There's illumination, then there's endurance or operation. Now, I'm going to revise number 42 here, which I put up at a high number. I may have to lower that, but for now it's 42, which is the playlist here where I explain to some of you who don't understand that the Bible talks about 2 periods of life for a Christian while you're in your body, okay? There's before you're born and formed in the womb, there's after you're born, and then there's born again, and then there is the rapture or in glory. You have basically 4, even before you're formed in the womb and so forth, the Lord has already planned you into existence. So that makes it 5 periods, essentially. But anyway, we have 5 periods of existence. One moment as I drink from the cup of love here. Humiliation brings love. The reason why is because mankind turned his back on God. They turned their back on God. And one of the main things they lost was this: God's love. You lost it, it's gone. You can't have love without respect and appreciation. You'll never have it. That's why the River Jordan is so important in our Bible study. The River Jordan. I just met a gentleman named Jordan at the gym. A lot of children at the gym are getting into a lot of physicality, and that's not good. All this boxing and so forth. But at least a lot of them are not in the streets. So let's get going as we look into getting this love, which is being a servant. What Micah 6:8, what the Lord requires of you. There are requirements for you, and fortunately the Lord is going to show you how to perform those requirements, and He's going to do what? He's going to show you, and He's going to empower you with the force, with the Holy Spirit force. That's what's going to endow you. That's what's going to give you the capabilities to perform the things and the actions that the Lord wants you to perform for the church, which is in general binding up the brokenhearted and setting at liberty those who are captive. For those of you who have been a part of the church organization of the Protestants of the King James Red Letter Edition group, we Quaker types, we know that we're sitting here at the door waiting for people to come to us who are beat up and they're tired, just like the prodigal son. They're tired of going out in the world, and here we are waiting for them with open arms, with love that has very few conditions. And the conditions that we have, because Christianity is not unconditional love. In order for you to participate in Christianity, you're going to have to humble yourself in the sight of the Lord. You have to do that. There is no love, there is no soap. Nothing's going to happen. The washing machine's going to run for nothing, for naught, and nothing's going to happen. Humiliation births expiation, reconciliation, or conciliation. We focus on the majors here a lot. Some people might even become, I don't know, disturbed or something, but that's their world and it's not our world. We're not here to identify every type of abnormal psychological thing that exists in the world. I'm not here to do that. I met a lady in college who said she wanted to study abnormal psychology. And I basically looked at her and I kind of let her know that I wouldn't do that. And the reason why is because you're basically dealing with a very serious situation, and it's basically the same thing over and over again, which is somebody does not want to humble themselves in the sight of the Lord. Psychological liberty comes from humbling yourself in the sight of the Lord. And then calling on the name of the Lord. You have to call on the Lord. It's my job as a Bible teacher to teach the world to call on the Lord. I just put up a song called Hannah, Don't Cry, because I have lots of music I'm going to load up, and you can hear my music at Jeremiah Michael Pearson 2022 Music on YouTube. I have lots of free music to listen to, and you can listen to a lot of my music. I think I wrote some pretty decent music. It's a little, I don't know, but anyway, I just wrote a song called Hannah Don't Cry. Hannah went to the temple to bring her problems. Some people go to the wrong place, looking for help in all the wrong places. I don't know how many people I've met who went everywhere but to the church to find satisfaction. And all they have are sad stories, because inevitably it's going to be a sad story. Why? Because the church door was open, and for some reason or another, someone influenced you, some being or somebody influenced you not to go to the Protestant church. And then you call me on the phone, and then you bring me the blues. The I don't have Jesus blues. I don't have wisdom blues. I don't have intellect blues, and I don't have deep, reliable affection blues. Well, I can't help you because you're not ready to go to Jordan. You got to go to Jordan. You've got to go to the River Jordan. You've got to go and confess your situation. You've done some wrong. You've been rude, or you've been mean or something, and you go to the River Jordan, which means you go to church. Church is the River Jordan. That's what it is. That's why it's called Beth Abara. It's sad. There was a lady at the grocery store. I'll tell you a quick story about being an evangelist out there in the world. I pass out Bibles. I pass out a lot of things pertaining to usually New Testament Bibles, which is half the Bible, or whatever you want to call it. But a lady at the convenience store. And I kind of got to know her a little bit. She's a very nice lady. And she started crying about her baby, and she has a mean landlord and so forth. And I told her, I said, I perceive immediately that you are not born again. And that the worst thing a human being can try to do is to face the world, the flesh, and the devil on their own. And that's what people do. Because when you reject the Lord Jesus Christ as your master, then you essentially become the master, so that when you succeed, you can be jubilant in your own accomplishments, in your own body. And the more you push Jesus away, the more you can rejoice in your accomplishments, in your body, and with your mind. Like a college graduation, it's not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing. That's the point. If I would have went to my graduation in college, and I'm only one class away from a master's degree, I could have went into the PhD program, but here's the point. The point is that I wouldn't have went to the celebration. And if I would have went to the celebration, if I had gone to the celebration, I would have told them that unfortunately this is a stained degree. That you have in your library books that say that my father didn't create everything that you're looking at. And that's completely disrespectful. And it's not a minor infraction. It's not a misdemeanor for you to declare that God didn't create beautiful things. That's a felony. So don't, for me as an individual, I am not an IQ robot. I don't just go, that's what the teacher said in the college, that God didn't create. No. We're Quakers over here. We're pilgrims. We're Amish type Americans here. Our Bible is our life. When you come over to our house, you see Bibles first. You don't see Starbucks cups. You don't see TV minions and all kind of TV stuff, whatever. The house is in order. It doesn't mean that people who aren't somewhat strict Christians aren't saved. It just means that why aren't you? As they say in America, why ain't you? Why ain't you reading your Bible during the day? Why, once again, we're not here to declare, that everybody who came to church is not saved or something. That's not the point. The point is that as they used to say back in the day, why Mickey? Paul said, make your salvation sure. Be rooted and grounded. Well, being rooted and grounded means that you're really getting into the Bible, you're really spending a lot of time, and you're really devoting a lot of your time to a church office of some sort in the Protestant church, and that's called what you should do. That's the point. Nobody can tell me anything else. That's clearly what the Bible teaches. Why Mickey? I mean, a lot of people I know a lot of people off and on in my life, and what they're doing is they're Mickeying. You know, they're Mickey Mousing. They're not really hammering home what they need to do. Now, once again, I am not here as a magnifying glass to spy out the liberty of, as Paul said in Galatians, people who are Christians. However, they can be confronted, and they quite often will be confronted, especially by the leaders. And I'm a leader. Periodically, I have to confront people. I went over a Christian's house here the other day, and they were listening to some wild rock and roll. I said, dude, don't ever listen to any more wild rock and roll. Stop it now. He looked at me in shock because he thinks that I'm some sort of a libertine, that we're all free here to go party, do what we want to do. I said, no, you don't. Somebody told you the wrong idea about what Christianity is. You got the wrong notion. Somebody gave you the wrong potion. Christianity is not a free-for-all. And it irritates some people when you give that sort of presentation because they want to mold what their idea of Christianity is as opposed to what it really is. And Christianity has a lot of very strict observances. That's just the way it is. That's why Jesus said narrow is the way. Narrow means narrow. Even a fourth grader knows what narrow means. It means that your behaviors are highly restricted. And you can talk till you're blue in the face, but you're not going to change the platform here. You can try to change the narrative, but all you're going to do is find yourself like the gal at the convenience store. Up and down, a roller coaster of a circus. A carousel of progress and a carousel of loss and failure. That's all there is out there for the world. America bought into a lot of these movies that became popular in the United States, which should have never been popular, such as the gentleman who said, I'm seeking fortune and glory. Indiana, whatever his name. Yeah, I want fortune and glory. Well, that's telling you right there that gentleman belongs in Babylon. It doesn't mean he's not a nice person. It doesn't mean that he's a wicked man. What it means is he is throwing God's glory out the window, and that's going to cost him. When you walk into the church, you talk right all the way from the front of the door until you walk back out of the door. And when you go home, I don't want any fortune. I don't want any glory. I don't need any fortune. I already have fortune. The Lord is my fortune. Why would you go looking for fortune when you have the love of Jesus in your heart? That means that you don't have the love of Jesus in your heart. Otherwise, you know what fortune is. As far as glory goes, so I went on and performed something. Well, Paul said boasting is excluded. So there goes fortune and there goes glory out the window. The way Babylon looks at fortune and glory. If Father wants me to have an excessive amount of mammon or material, he'll give it to me. However, I'm going to have to be wise like Solomon and distribute the wealth. It's not for me. That's the point. That's the New Testament, King James, sound doctrine that the Bible teaches, what I'm telling you right now. Trying to sway back and forth all over the place is not going to do anybody any good, especially the person who's going to sway back and forth. When I watch people sway back and forth, like the pendulum of the famous pendulum of Mr. Poe or something, I don't know what to say. It's just that I can watch people go on the roller coaster, or I can watch them eat living bread. Do you want to eat living bread, or do you want to continue to eat your dead bread, which is fortune and glory for yourself? See, when you have to give God all the glory, what it does is it creates a situation whereby that you can no longer use that as a resource, a psychological advantage for your glorification, for your self-esteem, and for you to be puffy about something. When you become a Quaker Christian Protestant, all of the puffy is gone, and there are no more peacocks anymore. A Christian is a peacock who took all of his feathers off. And most people will not take their feathers off, or a lot of people will not take their feathers off. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 10 and elsewhere, he talks about dying so you can live. You want to live, then die. That's the New Testament requirement that is in stone. Now, some people can go to the Old Testament and they can bounce around, or they can try to find scriptures that tell them that they're okay not putting on a servant mind, and all of this. And all they're doing is just, it's a circus. Da, 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 da. 4th to 8th grade grammatical understanding puts you in the driver's seat when you start speaking the living bread, which is the commandments of Jesus Christ, which are what? Tons of commandments, all related to self-denial. And you can't water it down. And I was talking with a Bible teacher here recently, and he was trying to water it down. The basic understanding of Christianity, being obedient to Jesus Christ, is to put on the mind of and speak the commandments of humiliation and denial. And I've had pastors and Bible teachers in the past, they try to water down what I just told you, and that's horrible, because that is the gospel now, no matter what you think it is. And if you want to try to replace living bread with dead bread, that means you're going to die. Because you're going to have to eat living bread in order to live. In the Greek, it's called macrochronis or something, macrochronius, or don't pardon me, my Greek friends, Carlos Efate. Listen, I don't have a war with anybody. I fight with the words of my mouth. That's what I fight with. I speak the truth, and all of the little evil people scatter when I turn the light on. Every now and then I'll run into somebody who wants to fight me. Even some people who are in the church, who are obviously not in the church, or they're not part of the church, but they sit on a pew. Let's put it that way. And I get them to confront me periodically. They'll run up to me and they'll boldly contradict what I say, and they'll do it, and they'll be very proud, and it's horrible, and it could lead to the loss of their soul, because a Bible teacher is supposed to give you the royal law, and the royal law is very simple. We're going to get into the royal law here. That's part of what Paul talks about in Romans. Part of the royal law is for you to agree with reality, and agreeing with reality is that Jesus Christ is God and man. He's 100% God and he's 100% man, or he was at the time of 33 years, and that's what he had to be, and that's what he was. Now, if someone comes along and says, I don't know if I agree with that, then what we have is we have a rebel on our hands. Some people push away the things that they need. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think. So a thinking person, a wise person, hears the truth, and they don't argue with the truth. Now, let's get into Romans. I wanted to show you Micah 6:8. He hath shown thee, or you, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of you. There are requirements here. I was talking with a Bible teacher here recently. I've talked to a couple recently. And there's an elder I've been talking with here. I didn't know that he didn't know what the demon doctrine was. He didn't even know. So I don't know how he can be that old and not know what it is. I don't know. His conversion might be more recent than I ascertained. But to say there are no requirements, you just contradicted the Bible. You don't think Micah knows what he's talking about in 6:8 here? What the Lord require of you. It's required of you, we say it over and over again, to go to the River Jordan, kneel and call upon the name of the Lord. That's required of you. All this libertine stuff, amazing grace, I do what I want to do. I'm not putting amazing grace down. I'm going to give you a version of amazing grace. I'm going to sing it for you. You can click that on and sing along, and when you go to my website, my playlists, you can click on my music and you can sing along. I have a lot of my own original music. I have some hymns ready to record here too. We're busy here. But as far as Amazing Grace being the only song that you can sing, that's not it. That's not Christianity. You don't sing Amazing Grace every day. And what happens is a lot of people, that's what they want to do. They want to mold their own Christianity. No, the Amazing Grace is for you to do what's required of you here. You were graced to do what the Lord requires of you. You get the point? Amazing grace basically means opportunity. Charis in the Greek, it's an opportunity. Now, you can take advantage of the opportunity and be once saved, always saved, or you can not take advantage of the opportunity and shrink back to destruction. Or the word perdition, Paul uses the word perdition. So we're here to teach everyone to enter into the marathon and to stay in the race. That's the point. It's very simple. And when you do what's required of you, to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God, then you fulfilled your obligation. And the two words the Master uses are enough and sufficient. So you have done what you're supposed to do. You've yielded to the force of the fountain of life. You yielded to that force. That's the big word, yield. You allowed. We have that song, "Cause me to come to thy river, O Lord." Well, the Lord's going to cause you to come, but he's not going to twist your arm. That's the point. He didn't twist Judas's arm. At the Last Supper, which I just saw a beautiful picture of Da Vinci's Last Supper, that's one of the first close-ups I've seen of that in high definition. I saw it yesterday. He didn't tell Judas to hey, no, you know what, man? You can't go turn me in and murder me. You can't do that. I won't let you do it. He said, basically, go. We teach the power of the Lord. We teach the wisdom of the Lord, and that's what empowers you, and that's what guides you. However, we also teach yield, and yield is a big part of wisdom. You can't have wisdom unless somebody has an option. That's the point. There's no way to use the word wisdom. We may as well throw the word wisdom out of our Bibles. Let's throw it out because somebody's going to make you do something. No. And I get into that on playlist number 6. I have some lessons there for you, and which also ties into playlist 10, which is vocabulary. Some people don't know vocabulary, and they want to be teachers, and it's dangerous. They don't know vocabulary or context, and that's what the name of that playlist is. Vocabulary and context. Because if you don't get those two things right, we might have some wacky person on our hands. That's the point. A person who thinks that they're intellectual, they understand what they're saying, but they don't understand the words, and even they don't even comprehend the body of the letter, the introduction, the summary. They don't understand what they're saying, and it's sad, but it happens a lot. It's unfortunate, and a lot of it starts with grammar. You don't know basic, definite article. You don't know basic. You just don't know a lot of basics. You don't know what that term means. You don't know what the word wisdom means. You think you know what it means, so that's not good. You need to find out what the word wisdom means. Okay? We're going to go to Paul the Apostle. We're going to read Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of God, which he had promised afore by his prophets in the Holy Scriptures. And we're going to read the whole chapter, and then I'm going to give you a quick overview and talk about some of the salient points of that chapter. And I am happy to say that I'm just about done with a review of chapters 2 all the way through maybe 7. Chapters 2 through 7 are some of the most difficult things for people to apprehend. So I'm going to break it down for you. Chapter 1 is awfully thick too. Paul is a highly intelligent or a highly knowledgeable man. And it's very difficult to read a lot of his books fast and quickly without really going over what he's talking about, because he challenges you like trying to go through Shakespeare fast. You just can't do it sometimes. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to go get a dictionary out of something so that you understand what's going on. Okay? Some of you may find my Bible teachings tedious or dragging or something. Well, that's on you. I have over 500 videos on an older channel. We're going to have a gazillion videos on this channel. This is for all ages, primarily for teenagers and adults. Okay, I'll be right back. Maranatha, Corinthians 16. Lord, come and get here and stop all of this confusion and sorrow in the world. We're listening to the voice of what? Is the Lord speaking? My sheep, they hear what? My voice. We're listening. Red letters. Paul, Romans 1. We'll be right back. Maranatha.